One of the worst feelings of life is the feeling that I've missed it. It seemed that most of my life, that's kind of how I felt. It seemed that my life was on this train. The problem was I wasn't on the train. I was beside the tracks eating popcorn, and the train was going by, and it seemed like everybody was on the train of life but me. Let me tell you some of my story. So when I was a little boy, probably the greatest joy of my entire childhood was playing in the park across the street and going to Cleveland from Indiana, where we lived, to go visit Grandma and Grandpa. The first night we got there, Grandma would have her homemade slumgullion. It was these big pasta noodles, and it was so good. And she made homemade cinnamon applesauce. But then came the real thrill of my life. The first night we got there, Uncle Andy would come pick us up and drive us down the interstate to go see the Cleveland Indians play baseball. Wow, I loved it. I always took my glove because my goal was to get a Major League Baseball at the game. It seemed that would be the greatest thing you could ever experience, is getting a ball at the game. This old stadium held like 80,000 people, but they only had like 7,000 people go to the games back in the day. So I walked in as a kid thinking, look at all these empty seats. I never thought there's still 7,000 people here and maybe 50 to 70 foul balls. It's not very likely, but in my heart, I was excited. I'm going to get a ball. I've got my mitt, and I was ready. I was about 10 years old one day at the game. My brother and I, with my dad and my uncle, were sitting behind first base, and I was sure that this was great foul ball territory. But I was getting antsy. It was about the third inning, and no ball had come our way. And I looked out to right field, and I saw these empty seats. And I talked my brother David into going out there. Let's sit out there for a while. So that's what we did. Well, nothing came out there either. So after a couple innings, we went back to our seats. And when I got back, my uncle was laughing at me. He said, Mark, it landed on your seat. Sure enough, the guy right behind me is holding a baseball that was meant for me. Life has a way of making all of us feel like we have to be at the exact right seat at the exact right moment to get the ball that's meant for us. And if you miss it, well, sorry. It's a horrible feeling. So fast forward 12 years. Now I'm married. My new wife, I talk her into making the trip from college, which was in Virginia, up to Cleveland for the last 3 games ever at this stadium. The thrill of my childhood, that building is about to get demolished for a new one, and I want to go to the last 3 games. And now the place is packed because it's so nostalgic. This old stadium, Babe Ruth had played there. And so it's packed and every seat is full, and we got seats in left field home run territory. And I think it was the Saturday, it was probably October, there was a ball hit that looked like it was almost right to me. Hit by a guy named Bo Jackson, who you probably heard of at that time, probably the greatest athlete on planet Earth. And he hit a line drive, and it was coming right at us. And I still had my glove. And I reached to my left to catch it, and I couldn't because my wife was in the way. She was 6 or so months pregnant. I couldn't get past her. The guy right behind her reached beside her and caught a Bo Jackson home run. Once again, my chance. I had missed it. I had missed my chance. But now fast forward about a year and a half. There's this new stadium in Cleveland, and I'm going to do something for the first time in my life. I'm going to take my son to a baseball game. So I drive him from Indiana, where we lived at the time, to Ohio to go see a Cleveland Indians baseball game in their brand new stadium. And I am excited. I carry him across the street. He's still wearing a diaper. I still recall the outfit he had on, a little red baseball cap. He didn't know what was going on, but I sure did. I was excited as I walked across the street, and I stood beside the gate to the stadium. There was thousands of people everywhere waiting for the gates to open. Well, somebody had hit a home run during batting practice, and the ball bounced up onto the concourse, and I didn't even notice, but a security guard had picked it up, and he looked over at the throng of people, and he saw my son, and he walked over and he handed a ball through the gate to my son. And my first thought was like, wait, wow, we're not even in the game yet. He doesn't even know what a ball is. My son doesn't even know the magnitude of this moment. The dream I had my entire childhood, he's experiencing it, and he doesn't even know what he's experiencing. I love thinking back to that moment. And honestly, it's a great picture of what life really is. We can be so passionate about chasing something in life, titles, positions, success, achievements, fame, and maybe we miss what life really is. Maybe life isn't about what we can go get and acquire for ourselves. Maybe life is much more about showing up for other people and even carrying other people that they might experience something in life. Now, let me take you to what I would call a dark season in my life. I was in ministry as a young man. I felt a call to ministry, to pastor a church, and I did in my late 20s and early 30s. But honestly, I didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel good about it because I felt like I was a failure. I didn't feel like I was good at it. I wasn't. I didn't know how to be effective at something I felt called to, but it felt just frustrating to me. I had a friend in Oklahoma who offered jobs to my wife and I to teach at a school. And at that time, I think I was 32 years old. And I just remember looking at myself in the mirror thinking, I'm tired of failing. And this school was a great school at a great ministry in Oklahoma. And at least I can go there and be a part of something successful. Because I don't know how to succeed. I don't know how to lead. But at least I can go there and be a part of something that someone's doing that is working. And I chose to do it. We packed up our 3 kids and moved to Oklahoma. I got to be honest with you. When I was making that trip to Oklahoma, I didn't feel like a hero going somewhere to do something great. I felt more like a zero. I felt like I was leaving my calling. I felt like I was leaving my game. I felt like I was leaving it. So I taught at this school in Oklahoma for 14 years. And although I enjoyed it, it was hard for me the first number of years especially to rub away the feeling I had on the inside of me that I had failed as a person, that I had left my calling. After teaching for 14 years, I resigned from that position. And I think it was a year later that I was asked to go teach one day at a great university called ORU in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I taught there that day. I love to teach. It's just something that's in my heart to do. As I left that day, I was walking down the sidewalk and I stopped because it felt significant. I thought to myself, when I moved to Oklahoma to teach 14-year-olds and 5th graders and 6th graders, I would have never thought that I would teach at a great university. Because I'm a failure. I'm just a man who failed at his position in life. Why would I get to ever teach at a great university? So as I stood on that sidewalk, I thought, I just taught at ORU. This feels like it's significant, but I just pondered what that meant to me as a man. Can I tell you why I taught there that day? I taught there because the professor who invited me had my last name. It was my oldest son, Matthew. He had invited me to come teach that day. What's so interesting to me as I think back to the story, Matthew was that young son that I held in my arms. I took him to a baseball game and he got his ball. It's interesting that fast forward all these years, he invited me to a different game. And I got to play a game because he kind of carried me to it. It's interesting as I think back to when he was in my wife's womb, when we missed the Bo Jackson ball. It's interesting that that Bo Jackson ball is coming at us, and in my heart, I'm like, here it comes. This is it. And what was in my way? Think about that. What was in my way was my pregnant wife. The greatness in life was not getting that ball. The greatness in life is this wife, this young woman who had decided to commit to do life with me, to be my best friend and my lover. This person next to me who was not just committed to be my wife, but committed to have children. And she's carrying inside of her a son that I can someday take to a game and he get a ball. Life has a way of making us all feel like we're missing it, but it's probably because we're chasing the wrong it. For so many years, I felt like a failure because I was trying to measure success. And life really is not about success. Life is about service. And as we serve in the field of our life, we're all like farmers. We just rake the dirt of our life, whatever it is, wherever it's at. And then we have seeds that we plant in the dirt. And things come out of the dirt. And it may look like success, but all it really was service. In the years of my life that I felt like I was a failure, it's because I was measuring the wrong thing. But fortunately, I was still serving in the field of my life. What was in the field of my life? My wife, my kids. And from that field came opportunities that I wasn't even trying to get. So the great feeling that we're all afraid of, unmet expectations, I think it's caused by unrealistic expectations. That we're supposed to decide what our success looks like, and we're supposed to perfectly align ourselves to get it. But it's so exhausting. Life, to me, is much more about showing up every day and serving the people in our life. If we haven't met, my name is Mark Delaney, and I love to tell stories. I love to talk about the deep, meaningful things of life, because for me, life is about three things: purpose, freedom, and love. Those are the three things that I want to live out every single day. And those are the three things that I want everyone to live out every single day. So I welcome you to follow along for stories and principles about living out our best bold life and finding purpose, freedom, and love in all that we do. Thanks for watching.